How's it going, comic book fans? Welcome back to Comic Drops. Do you remember the 90s? Payphones on every corner, grunge rock, cigarette smoke in every room, answering machines, and the sprawling world of the internet just beginning to show us how dark people could really be. Beneath the trees where nobody sees, Rite of Spring #1 drops us right back into the world of the 1990s. Gritty, slow burning, and full of secrets. But what's the premise? Well, what if you've spent 8 years chasing a ghost, trying to find the body of your missing brother, searching through crowded streets and shady internet forums, plastering flyers all over town, and inspecting the fresh inhabitants of the city morgue, refusing to give up? What if, after all that time, one anonymous post on a message board gave you a lead? Would you follow it? Or would you disregard it? This issue introduces Monica Brewer, a chain-smoking, no-nonsense duck on a mission to find her brother's body, no matter the cost. And just when she thinks she's getting closer, an all-too-familiar face steps back into the picture. So how does Patrick Horvath introduce this new world, this new time period, and this new mystery to readers? What is Monica Brewer's true motive? And what just has been going on in Woodbrook since the incident with Nigel? Stay tuned to find out. Patrick Horvath's Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring #1 marks a chilling, atmospheric return to Woodbrook. But this time we're seeing the story from a different perspective. Set several years after the events of the first series, we're now in the early to mid 1990s. A choice that grounds the story in a gritty analog world full of cigarettes, payphones, and message boards. This isn't just a sequel for the sake of more carnage. This new series digs deeper into the consequences of Samantha Strong's murders by focusing on someone who's still paying the price: Monica Brewer, the sister of one of Sam's victims, Daniel Brewer. We first met Daniel in the original series, murdered and dissected by Sam in that haunting scene beneath the trees from 1986. And this new issue opens with a powerful callback to that moment, but from a fresh, more gruesome perspective. We see Sam standing over Daniel's body, paint can in hand, while the narration reads, Daniel Brewer, white duck, male, missing since September 29, 1986. And the first thing I'm struck by is how Horvath's watercolor style has matured beautifully here. The lines are sharper, the colors are more vivid, and the whole scene far more gruesome and haunting than its predecessor. It immediately signals that while this series retains its charming children's book aesthetic, it's going to lean heavier into grit, brutality, and psychological weight. That opening image sets the tone, but quickly gives way to Monica's struggle. She's speaking to a police officer about her brother's disappearance, and his frustration with her persistence is palpable. We've had this conversation a dozen times already, and I feel like at this point it's a waste of time for both of us, don't you think? But Monica's resilience shines through as she corrects him. It hasn't been a dozen times that we've talked, only 8. This is our first real glimpse into Monica's character. Dogged, bitter, determined, and utterly exhausted. She visits precincts 2 or 3 times a week, makes the rounds at every medical examiner's office, and keeps flyers in circulation in the city. When she hands over her card with a biting, in case you threw all the others away, it's clear she's lost faith in the system, but refuses to quit herself. And there's a quiet devastation to Monica's routine. After yet another fruitless meeting, she lights a cigarette inside the precinct and ignores the protests of another officer for her to put it out. Her internal monologue here reveals the sacrifices she's made for nearly a decade. 8 years. 8 years since I came here after Danny stopped answering his phone and returning calls. 8 years since he fell off the face of the planet. She lives in a city she despises, working a dead end job just to fund her endless search. Now I'm the manager, and I make as many copies as I want for free, she quips bitterly as she churns out more flyers about her brother. This is a person who has one singular goal: finding her sibling. One of the strengths of this issue is how Horvath takes the time to make Monica more than just your typical the victim sister character. She's fully realized, exhausted, yes, but also sharp and deeply relatable. Even though she's an anthropomorphic duck, her humanity shines through, and the time this comic spends letting us into her life gives her a relatability that few comic characters usually garner. Lines like 8 years with my life on pause and all the months blurred together shows us that her situation is tragic in more ways than one. Even her dinners, simple microwavable meals eaten while chain smoking, are laced with despair as she browses the dark corners of the internet, finding message boards filled with horrific crimes. Sometimes it just seems like a catalog of how horrible we all can be, she thinks, while scrolling through images of bodies stabbed, others wrapped in plastic, and further ones hacked furiously with a machete. However, the one glaring absence in all these photos is her brother's body. The artwork on these pages is phenomenal as well, blending Monica's physical environment with the horrors she's researching in a creative and evocative way. Instead of confining her discoveries to a computer screen, Horvath visually floods her room with grotesque images and crime scenes. It's inventive, cinematic, and deeply unsettling. This type of stylized approach to the visuals is masterful, and I can't wait to see the cinematic nature of the rest of the story and how it's presented. Still, Monica isn't delusional about finding her brother either. She's painfully aware of her slim chances to find him alive, or any semblance of that at all. I'm not a fool. I refuse to let myself hope that he'll just pop up out of the blue. I just want closure. The tragic nature of her character shines through here. She has already accepted the fact that her brother might be dead, yet she is continuing on this journey despite this. You would think that she might be able to lean on other family members also, but it seems her only real connection to others comes through the message boards she scours each night. Under the username mbrewer60, she posts about her brother across a multitude of internet forums. Maybe one of you out there saw something or knows someone that can help me find his body and find the son of a bitch that took my brother away from me. It is at this point that I'm again reminded of the period details that really shine throughout this comic. The cluttered radio on her kitchen counter blares news of factories moving overseas. Her answering machine catches messages from coworkers, inviting her to karaoke. Messages she ignores. These little touches immerse you fully into the 90s and remind you how isolating this analog era could be for someone like Monica. Someone with a singular focus. Even her coworkers can sense her distance. When George invites her out yet again while taking a smoke break, she dismisses him flatly. I don't have plans. I just don't want to go. And her internal monologue confirms it. Friends are too much. You make friends, you make plans, and then you lose sight of the whole reason you moved here. Her obsessive nature in relation to finding her brother means she has no emotional energy to expend on others. Her sole goal is finding the body of her brother. Then, while sitting in a diner, Monica decides to call her answering machine and listen to the messages. There, she has a message she's been waiting for. On her answering machine, the medical examiner leaves a message. We have you on file to be notified for identifying any John Doe matching the description of an adult male white duck. Monica's eyes widen. Could this finally be him? Then she rushes to the examiner's office. refusing to wait to identify the body using photos. Instead, she wants to see it in person. Even when warned about the body's condition, there's been quite a bit of tissue damage. She insists, okay, go ahead. We see the duck's outline covered by the white sheet, and we're invested in this mystery as well. And just as Monica was determined to examine the body now, she is met with an instant sense of disappointment. When the sheet is pulled back to reveal the mangled remains, she whispers, defeated. No, it's not him, I'm positive. We see a duck that has been horribly disfigured lying on the metal table in the exam room, and her internal monologue cuts even deeper than her disappointment. And I immediately feel like a fool, ashamed that I can be so naive, as if I'd ever find him, as if this city would ever give him up. It is this catharsis that seems to run throughout this entire issue. We get to see the ups and downs of Monica's struggle, and it is intriguing to say the least. By allowing the audience to ride this emotional roller coaster with Monica, we can see firsthand what she has been experiencing for the last 8 years. Even in her lowest moments, Monica is formidable, and we get to see that soon after she leaves the medical examiner's office. When two would-be muggers approach her after she steps off the subway, she handles them effortlessly with a retractable baton. Bloodied and humiliated, they retreat as she spits curses at them. Clearly, this is not a woman to underestimate. And we see that not only is Monica relentless in finding Daniel's body, she can also aptly defend herself, and that could come in handy later. Then the narrative shifts back to her nightly ritual, scouring forums, smoking, and anxiously waiting anything that might lead her to a new clue. And then a reply comes in from a user named BBB123 on one of her posts. If you want to find your brother, you should have a look in Woodbrook, Vermont. The look on her face says it all. Finally, a real lead. Or is it? Who could this person be that contacted her? Why would she believe a faceless and nameless person on the internet about the location of her brother? Without hesitation, she packs her things, pleads to borrow her coworker George's car, and drives to Woodbrook. It's hard to believe in anything, but finally having a lead that comes from someone else, it's different at the very least, she thinks, as the small town sign comes into view. Now, Patrick Horvath doesn't waste any time bringing us back to familiar faces. Samantha Strong herself notices Monica's arrival, watching as she drives through Main Street Woodbrook, and even as she parks her car at the police station. And the look on Sam's face says it all. Something is definitely going on here, and Sam is certainly involved. Sam then watches from across the street as Monica meets with Sheriff Patterson. When asked why she came to Woodbrook, Monica actually lies. There's never been any trace of him in the city. I figured I might as well start looking around the small towns nearby. Maybe she doesn't want to admit the novelty of listening to an anonymous person on the internet. Maybe she doesn't want to get her hopes up. Either way, she's keeping her motives close to the chest. Then the sheriff shows her evidence boxes from the Nigel Albright case from the original series, and she immediately identifies her brother's jacket. This is Danny's. But the sheriff warns her that the remains are inconclusive. Only pieces of his body have been found. Who knows where the rest might be? And when told that the search area is too vast to comb thoroughly, Monica's resolve hardens. I'll find him myself. Echoing the usual disappointment and frustration she has with law enforcement in her brother's case. And then we turn to the final page. Monica climbs into her car, and she hears a voice from the passenger seat. Sam has been waiting in her car the entire time, and turns on that sociopathic charm immediately. I'm so sorry to do this. My name is Samantha Strong. Our sheriff is about as worthless as they come, and I wanted to cut to the chase. Is it your brother? And then she calmly admits it was me. I sent you the message to come to Woodbrook. Monica is just as intrigued as we are and asks Sam, I need to find where the rest of him is buried. How the hell did you figure this out? And the comic concludes with Sam asking what Monica is willing to do to find her brother. And her answer is chilling. To find my brother, I'll do whatever it takes. Now this brings up a few interesting questions. Why did Sam contact Monica specifically? Has Sam been keeping tabs on Monica this whole time? She obviously knew who she was when she arrived in Woodbrook. Is Sam just trying to mislead Monica on her search for her brother? And I will have to say that the cover image also makes much more sense now as well. Sam leading Monica out into the wilderness beneath the trees. And we all know what happens out there. So this opening chapter is everything you'd hope for in a follow-up to Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. Patrick Horvath's writing remains razor sharp, with more period details and richer world building than before. And Monica is a fantastic and fascinating protagonist. Sympathetic, gritty, and deeply human. And the interplay between her and Sam promises an intense psychological game of cat and mouse for future issues. The art has evolved also, more cinematic, more detailed, and more expressive, while retaining that storybook eeriness. In short, Rite of Spring #1 is a triumphant, haunting start to the next chapter in this world. A story as much about obsession and closure as it is about murder and deception. Patrick Horvath proves yet again that even in a quaint watercolor forest, monsters are real, and they're watching you from beneath the trees. And there you have it. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring #1 sets the stage for a tense, chilling mystery wrapped in all the gritty charm of the 1990s. Monica Brewer's hunt for her brother's remains has already led her to some dark places, and it looks like things are only going to get more dangerous from here on out, especially with Sam now back in the picture. But what do you think of this first issue? Do you think that Monica stands a chance against the predator hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts and your theories in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about where this series is headed next. And of course, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Comic Drops.